Sir, how you doing this morning?
Hi.
I'm Paul Evans.
Hi, Paul. George Boston. How are you?
Good to meet you. We've got a pretrial set today with James Powell.
Okay. Okay, here's the file. Let me clear off my desk.
We're pretty much ready to go to bat here on the pretrials, so.
Okay. Is there a pretrial issue?
Yeah, we've got a few. We've got a few good ones.
A few good ones. Tell me what they are.
Oh, I'm not gonna give you all my surprises away.
Okay. Let me see. What kind of motions do you have filed?
I have a motion to suppress. There's a motion for notice in there, I believe.
Okay. Okay.
Says it's a high burglaries and narcotics usage area.
Yeah.
You talking about the collegiate pot smokers or what?
I don't know. Okay. So your guy's got a gun case now, and he's just gotten off another weapons. What was the prior weapons, the prohibited weapon? What was that all about?
I think he had some brass knuckles, some little toy.
Okay. How old is this kid?
He's 19.
You want me to go ahead and give you a recommendation?
Sure. I'm all ears.
Okay. I have to tell you that I have this thing about guns. Some of my other people who work here think it's okay, but these these kids that are carrying around guns scare the daylights out of me.
He's not smart. Yeah, he scares the daylights out of me too.
Okay, what's the date? The 20s. Well, did this guy successfully complete his probation?
Yes, he did.
Okay. Doesn't seem like that had any effect on him, so let's try some jail time. Let's say 90 days, Travis County Jail, plus court costs, and I want him to forfeit the weapon up front.
Okay. I agree with you. I think he needs a scare. I think he needs that much of a scare. 90 days seems to me like he could learn a few new tricks in there.
Well, it's only 45 so I think that'll be enough to get his attention. And he'll be out of Del Valley, so he won't be with the tough guys.
Right. Well, let me go run it by him, okay?
Okay.
Have a good day, sir.
Nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you. Come on in.
Hey, George.
Hi, how you doing,
Sean
George
Kelly.
Boston? Hi, sorry.
Hi, I'm here just to talk about case this afternoon. We've got set up for pretrial.
Which case?
Richard Powell.
What's he set on?
He's set on, do you mean a cause number?
What kind of docket?
Oh, he's set on CC5.
Well, yeah, but I mean, is it announcement or plea?
Oh, I apologize. It's a suppression hearing.
Pretrial?
Oh, pretrial, yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
Grab his
Apologize.
file there. All right. What's he charged with?
Unlawful carrying of a weapon. Basically, I'm going to be honest with you up front. You know, this is a kid. He's not a great kid. He's had some problems. He's had prior, got caught with a switchblade, basically. Successfully completed probation, but this kid is definitely does have some issues, and he understands, and he needs to sort of accept some responsibility here.
What kind of weapon are we talking about now?
Pistol, .25 caliber.
It's just like he's graduating from knives to pistols, huh?
Yeah, but, you know, he is willing to make some changes.
What happened on his last case?
Basically, he was sitting in a car on an alley on Pearl Street. You're talking
I mean,
about before.
what was it, a knife case, you said?
It's just he was a switchblade, essentially, but he got caught. You know, the kid's 19 now, so obviously this is a problem, and I've talked to him, and he understands that he needs to really
Did he complete his deferred on the?
Yes, he did. 12
Okay.
months. Now, right now, he's getting a job. He's had some problems, you know, on the report. He finished this pipe fitting course.
He's had some problems.
Well, I mean, you can just see the kids, obviously, if he gets caught with a switchblade and a pipe,
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
and a
He's got
pistol,
some
and he's got some
problems, all right,
problems. So he's looking to get a job, but, you know, really, we've got this, there's an issue with the suppression, you know, the stop.
What'd they stop him for?
Well, that's kind of the question here. I mean, I've been to the scene. I don't know if you've been out to Pearl Street, but he's sitting in his car. It's west side of campus where all the students live. There's all these apartments over here, and he's sitting in the car, and the cop comes up and taps on the window. Lights are off, the car's running, but, you know, students are moving all around, and there doesn't seem to be like there's enough probable cause.
See what's going on with PC right quick. All right, your boy is James Powell.
Yes.
14th December, UCW, 3:40 a.m., minivan, alley,
Yep.
lights off, motor running. Rear entrance to medical offices.
Yeah, well, if you go to
Building
the scene.
closed, high rate of burglaries. I don't know about this. I mean, this looks like a burglary in progress to me.
George, this is a student area where they have all kinds of like kids on their porch smoking
It says
weed,
medical
stuff like
offices.
that. If you look at the area though, there's all these residential buildings right here. They're not set apart, and that's part of the problem. Now, this guy,
What's this kid doing at 3:40 in the morning sitting
well,
there?
you know, they go to clubs, they come back, take people home, pick up people, hanging out, like what 19-year-olds do. But James is willing to accept responsibility and get some jail time and kind of serve up for this. So we were I just want to talk about this before we got to pretrial today.
Okay.
See if we can do something with maybe like
Well-
45 to 60 days.
Well, you know, I was thinking of a pretty stiff probation. I could do a little bit of jail time as a condition of. I could do 20 as a condition of on a 1-year probation.
I think that he needs to sit, I think he really needs to sit in jail. I think he understands he really needs to sit
Well, I mean, I can
down
give him
little
a
bit.
sit down in jail for 20 days is what I'm saying.
I think you and I both know it's better if this guy's not on probation.
Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll give him I don't know. I mean, these kids, they scare me. I kind of wish this
you know
punk would be
what?
supervised, you know?
George, he scares me too, and I think if he sits down for, 60 days, and kind of, he's never been in jail before, sits up and fesses up that time, this is something that he
I'll
can...
tell you what I'll do. You know, I'll give him alternative recs. I'll give him a 1-year probation with 20 as a condition of probation, or if he'd rather just get it over with, I could do 90 days.
90 days? How about 60 days? 60 days is a long time for a 19-year-old.
You know, I'd agree with you, but he had, the last one, he didn't do any jail time whatsoever, and I'll tell you what, if you plead it today, I'll do 75. 75 to Travis County Jail if you get it off the docket today.
Okay.
Take care.
Sir?
You look like your feelings were hurt, man.
We don't want to get that on tape. I now call cause number 5488881, the State of Texas versus James Richard Powell. This case is now called for pretrial. Is the state ready?
Ready, Your Honor.
Is the defense ready?
Ready, Your Honor.
Okay. Are there any witnesses on the motion to suppress?
Yes, Your Honor. Defense calls Officer William Reese to the stand.
Officer Reese, would you please step up here and raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear the testimony given this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please be seated.
Could you please introduce yourself to the court?
My name is William Reese.
And what do you do, William Reese?
I'm a police officer with the Austin Police Department.
You were the arresting officer in this case.
Yes, I was.
I want to talk about the circumstances surrounding that a little bit. Now, you were patrolling on December 14th of last year, is that
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
Driving northbound on Pearl Street?
Yes.
You were on patrol?
Yes.
Right? And you saw a parked car in an alley?
I believe it was a minivan.
Parked minivan, right? And it was maroon?
Yes, ma'am.
And you saw a white male sitting inside?
Yes, I did.
Lights off?
Yes.
Motor running?
Yes, ma'am.
So you approached the vehicle
I did.
on foot,
Yes, I did.
tapped on the window,
Yes.
asked him to roll the window down,
I did, yeah.
asked for his license or registration.
That's correct.
He goes to get out of he reaches for the glove compartment, right?
Yeah, he did.
And there was a .25 caliber pistol inside.
Yes.
About what time did this happen at?
Let me see right quick.
About 3:40?
Yes, it
in the
was
morning?
about 3:40, yes.
All right, I want to talk a little bit about that area. Now, there are a lot of students in that area on Pearl Street, right? It's West Campus.
There's some students out there, yeah.
There's an apartment complex in that alley, right?
Yes, there is.
And there are a lot of students who live in West Campus.
There are, yeah.
And Pearl Street is in West Campus, right?
Yes, it is.
So there's an apartment complex, and the doors of the apartment complex face the alley.
Yes, I do.
There are cars parked all up and down the apartment complex.
Yeah, sometimes there's cars parked there.
And there are some medical buildings on the right side, right?
That's correct.
Now, when you approached the vehicle, you said you saw a white male in the car, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You didn't see any drugs in the car?
No, I didn't.
You didn't see any burglary tools?
No.
You didn't see really anything in the car except the man, right? Or the minivan except the man?
That's correct.
And the back wasn't open?
The back of the minivan?
The back of the minivan was closed, right?
No, that's correct. It was closed, yes.
And a lot of, typically there's a lot of activity in West Campus, right?
Sometimes there is.
Because a lot of students, at all times of the morning.
I wouldn't say at all times of the morning, but at some times of the morning, there's more students than others.
Because students have more unusual sleeping patterns, right? I mean,
I suppose they do, yeah.
no further questions, Your Honor, or pass the witness.
Officer, how close was the van parked to the building it was next to?
It was, I'd say it was hugging the building. There's a series of steps, cement steps, on the back side of the building, and the minivan was just inches away from the cement steps.
And what sort of building is that?
It's a medical office, sir.
Officer, in your experience, why would someone be interested in a medical office, perhaps?
Well, perhaps there's drugs inside, and they might want to, get drugs.
These weren't normal operating hours?
No, sir, they weren't.
No further questions. Your Honor, I pass the witness.
Your Honor, can I just ask some brief questions?
Sure.
When you arrested Mr. Powell, Officer Reese, he wasn't high, right? You didn't observe any drunkenness, like
No,
any
no.
alcohol in his breath,
He did not appear to be intoxicated.
and he didn't appear to be affected by any other type of drug.
That's correct.
Pass the witness, Your Honor.
State have anything more?
No questions.
You're excused, officer. Thank you very much. Defense have any argument on the motion?
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, the standard here for probable cause, the standard for a stop is probable cause. Basically, the officer has to have specific and articulable facts to base his stop on, and those facts must be objectionably or relatively reasonable. And in this particular case, if we look at the officer's situation, the officer did not have a reasonable, specific, articulable facts. This is a minivan that's parked in a clearly residential area. There are medical buildings on one side. There are a series of apartment houses on the other side with doors facing. Cars are parked. There are lots of people moving in and out of the area. When the suspect, when Mr. Powell was found, he didn't have any weapon. I mean, he didn't have any drugs. He wasn't high. The back of the minivan wasn't open. He wasn't attempting to open any doors. He was just sitting in what's essentially a residential alley, and that cannot be, and that's not reasonable suspicion in this case. Your Honor, may I approach?
Sure.
Your Honor, the case Tunnel, decided by the Texas Court of Appeals in '77, goes over the standard for reasonable suspicion. It shows an example where somebody was parked outside of a craft facility early in the morning, car running, and in that case, that stop was not considered reasonable. Your Honor, we're faced with the exact same situation here. This person is sitting, car running, at night, in an area where lots of students move in and out, in a residential area. Therefore, Your Honor, we ask that the information on the stop be suppressed.
Okay. I understand your position. Let me hear what the state has to say.
Your Honor, I think this is pretty cut and dried. We have the specific articulable fact here. The van was hugging a medical building. I realize that it is in an area where there are some residences, but if this were a matter of simply someone coming or going, then why is the van hugging the building? It doesn't seem like that would make it easy for individuals to get in and out of the van. Secondly, Mr. Powell wasn't high. He didn't have any drugs in the car, but it seems to me like maybe he hadn't had a chance yet to get his hands on anything. It looks to me like there's reasonable suspicion for the officer to think that he might have been about to get some drugs from that medical office. Again, this is not exactly like the case in Tunnel where individuals were parked in the middle of a parking lot, a well-lit parking lot. This guy was hugging the back of a medical office. I think there's clearly a good grounds for reasonable suspicion here. It's not the situation where he looks like he's dropping someone off to go to their apartment. It's not a situation where he looks like he's delivering the paper to the medical office at 3:40 in the morning. I think this is pretty cut and dry that the officer had a good reason to think that a burglary was about to begin in progress.
Okay. Defense have anything to add?
Your Honor, only just to restate our position that this is similar to the Tunnel case in the fact that this is an area that is well lit because it's right next to a residential area. Although it's at the back of medical offices, it's also right next to 4 apartment openings and at least 10 parked cars. And it's very reasonable.
Your Honor, I object. Counsel is testifying to matters not in evidence.
Your Honor, we're not at trial.
Okay, well, I still am going to base my decision on the evidence in the record, so.
Yes, Your Honor.
I remember what the testimony was. Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to take this matter under advisement. Let's set it on the pretrial docket for this coming Friday, and if you come back then, I'll give you my decision.